Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiva Drive, and this time around we're doing a comparison between this 2024 Ford F150 Lightning Flash, the brand new version that just came out, versus this brand new 2024 Chevy Silverado EV 4WT version. They are both around 80 grand. So the Flash price is basically 79 grand plus a couple of options, so 82 grand as you see it. The Chevy Silverado EV starts at 75 for the 3WT version, which has a bit less range, and this is the 3WT, right, version?
It's the 4WT.
So this is the 4WT, which has 720 roughly kilometers range, so way more than the Ford. The Ford has about 520 rated range, so it's much bigger battery. As you know, we estimate, the Chevy doesn't give the exact battery size, but we estimate, so the Ford comes with 130 kilowatts and 520 kilometer range. This one here comes with a 724 kilometer range, and the battery size is likely around 200 kilowatt hours, which is the same as the Hummer EV and same as the Escalade IQ. So there we go. So let's start by a bit of a walk around. You've seen many videos of the Ford before. We're gonna pop the front storage on both cars so that you can see in the Chevy. So we'll ask Patrick here. By the way, we're at the Tom Smith Chevy in Midland, and this is Patrick who's gonna give us a tour of the Chevy Silverado EV. So as you could see, the frunk is basically hydraulic. So it's very light. So when you close it, it has a soft close. So in order for it to soft close, you have to apply a bit more pressure. There you go. So now you've got a soft close, it closes itself. Can you just, and then with your key, you can basically, it pops up, and then very lightly, literally no force needed to pop the frunk open. With the Ford, you get the electric. You've got the key here. Press it twice and it goes up, and if you press it twice it basically closes as well. So right away what you can notice is that the frunk of the Chevy is slightly narrower, where the Ford is slightly wider. They are about the same depth, just a slightly narrower frunk for the Chevy, slightly wider for the Ford. You've got the power outlets here. You've got 4 times 120 volts here in the Ford, and then you've got one outlet here, 20 amp 120 volts inside the Chevy. The total power available for your tools is about 10.2 kilowatts on the Chevy, with 9.6 with top of line version of the Ford, and it's an option. Again, the standard is less, but in this version you got 9.6 kilowatts versus 10.2 on the Chevy. Okay, so let's continue our walk around, and then you'll see this side you've got the running boards on both of these cars. Here is the Silverado with a blue E. That's how you know that it's an EV. The front on the EV version of the Silverado is slightly different as well. We'll quickly just show you the interior. This one here does not have a sunroof. Oh, by the way, what about the sunroof? Is it available as an option, basically?
It's only standard on the RST.
Okay, so the work trucks don't get the sunroof at all. If you want the sunroof, you have to go to the RST version, which starts at 117,000 Canadian. So you have the 2 screens here, one behind the wheel and then the center screen. The very nice interior, so we'll go into more detail in a moment. And here's the back seats. You have the spec sheet here. We're going to talk about it when we drive it. Here you have one of the seats is up, and the famous pass-through is only available on the RST truck, unfortunately, for now. That could change in the future. What else you get on the Chevy is you have this, the bed is standard, the spray-in is extra. The gate on the Chevy is manual, but it's very light. It's very light. And so on the Ford, I think it's power, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take this. Not this. I know it's somewhere.
Probably be under here. There's a button there. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, it's a manual one too, I think. Is it? Let's see. So it might be a. Yeah, that's the one thing I forgot. I didn't even open the door. I think it might be electric. Anyway, so we'll figure it out in a moment. So basically, here is a manual gate. Here and then you have the stairs. I think that's what you get. Do you have something? So there's a step here. I don't know if the Chevy.
It doesn't have it in the tailgate, but it has it on the bumper.
Okay.
You have your 20-step bumper.
So that's basically how you access the Chevy. And the nice.
The RST will have the multi-pro tailgate where this will fold down as a step.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So that comes on the RST. The nice thing about the Chevy is it comes standard with this roll-out cover. So the outlets are here. You can see. Again, total 10.2. You have all the outlets on the right-hand side. In the Ford, all the outlets are on the left-hand side. They're here, but a little bit more power on the Chevy side. And standard cover, which is kind of nice. They both have spray-in options, but the Chevy has a standard cover, which is kind of a soft cover with the Velcro, and it's kind of nice that it comes with it standard. Oh.
Hard to do with one hand.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Perfect, done. Okay, and let me see how easy it is to lift it up. Okay, you can keep the thing. Very light, no force necessary to close the gate. My concern was it would be very heavy to lift, but it's not. And we still have to figure out how to fold the Ford. So that's about it for the walk around. We're gonna jump inside, take you for a test drive, and talk about the specs and pricing of both cars. Okay, so we figured how to close it. So we couldn't close it because the ladder was out, but apparently you just have to use a little bit of power, and then it powers itself up closed. So on the Ford, it's a power versus manual one on the Chevy. Okay, so here we are, first of all, inside the 2024 Chevy Silverado EV 4WT version. It's a work truck version, which is about 80 grand, same as the F150 Lightning we're driving. So you have the typical Chevy interior right here. We moved through the options here. First of all, we set the region. You have 3 region settings: off, on, and maximum. So you have 3 settings versus 2 region settings on the Ford. It's either one pedal driving or no, very little or no region. Here you have 3 different settings. So we set it to, through the center menus here, to max region or one pedal driving. And we moved the efficiency onto the main screen here. You can get it on the center screen, but we moved it onto here so we can launch it. Now, the only unfortunate thing is that the only display you can have on a Chevy, you can have either the US display or the metric display, but the efficiency and consumption is only spelled out in kilometers per kilowatt hour, not kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So we'll have to do a bit of a conversion after we edit the video. What we can mention though is the huge difference. This car is right now charged to about 80%, and it's showing 580 kilometers, and that's the huge difference with the Ford. You have 580 kilometers and we're 80%, versus Ford at full is 520. So this car at full, the rated range is 720 kilometers, much bigger battery. The other huge difference is a much faster charging. The Ford tops out at 150. This Chevy charges up to 350 kilowatts. The Ultium batteries are phenomenal, have a phenomenal charging speed. That's of course the top speed. So now to start the car, there's no start-stop button anywhere. Basically, you just have all you have to do is press the brake pedal and the car comes on, basically, right? And then your shifter is here. So different than the Ford, which is here. This is the kind of a more of the like in the old 1970s Chevys of yesteryear. You move it towards you and then down. So right now we're in drive. To park, you press it here and then up. Again, you have to pull in towards you and then up. Okay, so I think we're in drive. This is your climate adjustments. You have lots of buttons for climate. You have your temperature adjustment here, auto front and rear defrosters, direction of the air, fan speed, that's the recirculation, AC on off, heating for is this for the seats or?
No, that's just for the batteries and all that, I believe.
Okay, okay. So anyway, so you've got your separate climate controls, separate from the center screen here. So we can again mention, so the range we know, the price we know. When you go to the RST, you get basically more power, but the range goes down to 705 kilometers. You get 650 standard horsepower or 750 horsepower with the WOW boost mode. So the acceleration is 4.5 on the RST, which starts at 117,000. This one here is 510 horsepower total, same as so 3WT and 4WT are the same power, 510, 5.8 seconds from 0 to 100. So it's about 1.5 seconds slower than the Ford. You have way more range. Towing capacity is what was the towing capacity?
So the 3WT is a 12.5 max towing. The 4WT and the RST come in at 10,000.
10,000, okay. And so the only difference between the 3WT and the 4WT, so this is the 4WT at 80,000, 3WT starts at 75. The difference is about 100 kilometers in range. So the range on the 3WT is about 620, and this one here is 720 kilometers. Very impressive. Okay, so we're in drive, so I guess we're gonna take it just around the neighborhood. Very carefully. So we're in Midland here again at Tom Smith Chevy in Midland, Ontario. Only about an hour and a half outside of Toronto. So because most of the dealers in Toronto will not be carrying these trucks, you can come and ask for Patrick when you come into Tom Smith in Midland, and he can show you the truck and sell you the truck, obviously. So this one it hasn't been pre-sold yet, right? So this is the first Silverado EV that you have actually received. Do you have both the 3WT and 4WT coming?
Right now we just have the 4WTs on order.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't anticipate there's going to be much demand for the RST truck, which is 120 grand almost. This is going to be probably the most popular version just because it has the highest range for the best price. So it still has very good pickup. You just have to keep an eye on the... oh, by the way, so in terms of the driver assistance, you've got the adaptive cruise with the lane keep assist. You don't have the hands-free super cruise, which is only available on the RST truck. Same as with the pass-through from the passenger cab into the back of the truck. That option is still only available on the RST version for now. We hope that the work trucks will also be equipped with this option down the road. It makes sense if you need to transport articles that are longer than the length of the rear compartment. So that's about it. So we're gonna try and put the adaptive cruise on. Here we're going onto Highway 12 and talk about the kind of slight comparison. So this is a direct competitor to the F150 Lightning, especially the Flash version, which is priced exactly the same. So what are some of the driver assistance? So by the way, the seats are manual here, right? They are manual seats, okay. So you get a lot of extra range, a little bit less power, more range, way more range, and much faster charging. But you have the manual gate in the back, manual frunk, the hood cover in the front, and the seats are manual as well. But your steering wheel adjustments are electric. So it's a telescopic and up and down, and there's a button on the left-hand side to give you the adjustments. So the one pedal driving feels about the same as in the Lightning. It's very strong, even though we're at 80% battery. So it's a full one pedal driving. And there's a lot of cops on Highway 12 always, so we have to really watch it. So in order to activate the adaptive cruise, it's basically one of these buttons here, right? Is this the button here?
So yes, if you push that one.
Gap. This is a gap adjust. Top right here.
Yep.
Okay. So and then to
System's on. So you just scroll down to set.
You scroll down.
Left. Yep.
This one here. Okay. And yeah, we're set at the speed limit, and then up and down. So there you go. We can. Perfect. And then to turn on the lane keep assist is always on, right? Basically, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a button over by your left knee over there.
Uh-huh.
There's a car with the 2 lines.
Yeah, this one here.
Yep.
And it's on. Yeah, now it's green. Yeah. So you turn it on, you turn the lane keep assist here on the left. And so it's not an auto steer. The full Super Cruise is only available on the RST, but it does kind of keep you warns you when you're wandering off the lanes. Okay, so we can increase the speed to the new speed limit. There you go. And it accelerates very smoothly and nicely. So in terms of the driving modes, can you change the drive mode? So the Ford has standard or sport. How do you change the drive modes in
this one? It just has a tow haul mode.
Okay.
And that's all.
So that's all. That's just a standard. So we'll basically try and see when we need to kind of accelerate on the highway. We won't go very far. We're just going to turn around. And to accelerate, it has more than enough power to power the vehicle. So here we have to merge. And just go on the left here. So yeah, again, slightly more, actually much more towing capacity. So 12.5 on the 3WT truck. Now the reason for that is that the 3WT has a smaller, lighter battery, so it's able to tow more. So 12.5 on the 3WT with a 620 kilometer range, and then the 4WT, which that's it here, is you said it was 11 or 10?
10,000.
10,000 pounds. Okay, perfect. So that's what we know, and then we know that the Ford at its maximum is 10,000 pounds. So you have a bit more towing capacity on the Ford, and again you have the 510 horsepower here on the 3WT and 4WT versus 580 horsepower, slightly more horsepower on the Ford. And because it has a smaller and lighter battery, the acceleration on the Ford is 4.2 seconds versus 5.8 on this one. If you want to get a faster Chevy, then you get to RST. You get 4.5 seconds, which almost matches the Ford's acceleration. So we're gonna turn around here and we'll test the acceleration from 0 on this higher speed little side road here and see how it goes. And then we're gonna ask Patrick here to jump into the Ford, drive that, and see how he feels about the Lightning, because we've driven it before. We've been driving it for a week. So let's just press it down. Oh, you have the sound effects as well. Nice. I haven't figured out if Ford offers sound effects. Even in sport mode, I don't hear anything. It's possible that you have some sound effects available. Here in the Chevy, you could definitely hear the sound effects. It doesn't try to imitate a gas engine. It has the electronic sounds, I think, like most other GM products. So very nice. Yeah, very nice sounding, electronic sounds of the accelerations. Obviously, because you have a little bit less power than the Ford, the acceleration is not as strong as the Ford. But most people won't care about it. The people seem to care the most about the range. And here, this version of Chevy Silverado EV beats Ford by 200 kilometers. So again, it's 720 versus 520 on the Ford. Okay, so I think we're gonna end the video right here, and we're gonna jump into the Lightning and see how it compares with this Chevy Silverado EV. Okay. Okay, so here we are inside a 2024 Ford F-150 Lightning, and this is the new Flash version, which didn't exist before. It's positioned above the XLT but below the Lariat. So what it does, it gives you the maximum power and the maximum range, maximum battery size, at a lower price point. So this is priced at 79, which is basically the same as the Silverado EV we drove just moments ago. So we're running this comparison. I know a few other people have done it, but we haven't done it. We're not gonna compare Cybertruck or Rivian. I think we may down the road run a comparison between Cybertruck and Rivian, but this car, the F150 Lightning Flash, can be best and should be only compared to the Chevy Silverado EV, which we just drove. We shot the impressions of the Chevy salesman driving this car, but unfortunately we had issues with the video, so I have to reshoot this section inside the F150 Lightning. So basically, let's talk about the differences. Both cars are priced just around 80,000. So the base, as it stands right now, the base Ford Pro with a smaller battery starts in the 60s. This particular version, which gives you the lowest price point for the larger battery and the more power, which happens to be 580 horsepower with a 4.2 seconds from 0 to 100 and the rated range of 520. We'll talk about results of our testing shortly. Compared to the Chevy, which is right now you have on sale 3 different models. You have the 3WT, stands for work truck, 4WT, which we just drove, and then you have the top of the line RST with more power. So what are the differences between, you have the base price for the 3WT starting at 75. The one we drove, the 4WT, starts at 80 grand, and that has 510 horsepower, 5.8 seconds acceleration. But the range, that's where the major difference is between the Ford Lightning and the Chevy Silverado. The only way they can beat the Lightning, which launched 2 years ago, is by some of the specs. The big difference is the range and the battery size. Now, Chevy does not talk about battery size. On the other hand, in Ford, we know that the base battery, the standard range battery, is 100 kilowatt hours roughly, and then this extended range is about 130 kilowatt hours, giving it a rated range of 520 kilometers. Now, the Chevy, the range on the cheapest truck right now, which is the 3WT, is 625, and then on the 4WT we just drove, priced at 80. So there's 5 grand difference between the 3WT and 4WT. So for the 75,000 truck, it's 625. For the $80,000 truck, it's 724 kilometer rated range, which is 200 kilometers more than this Lightning. Also, the big differences are the charging speeds. This Ford Lightning, maximum charging speed is 150, and we'll talk about again our own experience. And then the Chevy charges up to 350, so that's almost 3 times as fast. Now we'll have to wait until we get one for a week to properly test the charging speeds. But so far it looks like it's gonna charge much faster, and that should be the case because it's a much bigger battery. So again, the largest battery here, 130 kilowatt hours. On the Chevy, even though it's not officially announced, all we know is that it's similar to the Hummer EV, and it's similar to the Escalade IQ, which means it's just around 200 kilowatt hours. So it's a substantially bigger. It's basically 50% bigger battery, giving you an extra 200 kilometers in range. What that does, though, at the same time, is also makes it slower. So performance is less because there's a much heavier battery inside the car. So the standard 3WT and 4WT trucks, which offer 510 horsepower, which is not that far away from the 580 in this truck, the acceleration is 5.8 seconds on the Chevy versus 4.2 on the Ford. So it's 1.5 seconds difference. The Ford is much quicker in accelerating. Not that many people will care about it, so the good chances that people buying a work truck around 80 grand will care more about the range than about the performance. Some of the other differences, as you can see, versus the other Ford that we drove, the Lariat that we drove a couple of years ago when they were just launched, was a sunroof, opening sunroof, which we loved, leather seats. All this doesn't exist in this base Flash version. So you have cloth seats, you have no sunroof, no rear opening window in the rear as you did on the Lariat. But what you do get is the long-range battery, and you still have the 580 horsepower with the excellent acceleration. The other differences with the Chevy, so Chevy, because they offer a much bigger battery, a much bigger range and faster charging, they cut down on the interior. The interior felt really cheap. The front opening, the hood opening is manual. It's hydraulic, so you don't have to use much power, but it's still manual. You have to open the hood manually. Same with the rear gate. It's manual. On the Ford, both of them are power. So power front hood, power rear gate. What the Chevy does get though is a folding cover for the back of the car, where the Ford you have to buy it extra. The interior in the Ford is also superior. Superior quality materials, more storage, cover for the compartment here. You have a wireless phone charger. The other big thing missing from the Chevy is no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. There's just a Google system, and that's going to be a complaint for a lot of people. So same thing as with the Equinox EV and Blazer EV, which we're about to test for you soon. Same with Cadillac Lyric and Cadillac Optiq, which are the equivalent of the Blazer and Equinox. There's no Android Auto and there's no Apple CarPlay. So I think quite a few people may be complaining about it. The other thing is, the other differences are the seats here are on both sides, both driver and passenger. They are electrically adjustable. On the Chevy, it's all manual. You have heated steering wheel. You have the wheel, though, adjustment is manual. On the Chevy, it's electric. But things like all the storage bins, there's a lot of just the interior on the Ford appears to be higher quality, as it should be, because Chevy got it beat on range, battery size, and speed of charging. So we're gonna put it in sport mode. That's why we're keeping it on this screen for you, and actually give you the feel for the 4.2 second acceleration, which is 1.5 seconds faster than the Chevy. So we're gonna put it in sport mode. What that does, it changes the screen slightly from blue to white color. So we're gonna stop it at the section here in the countryside where there is no traffic and a higher speed limit. The reaction to the accelerator pedal is, you can feel much more the power in this Ford than you can feel in the Chevy. Again, how many people using work trucks will care about it? We're not sure, but for now, basically, that's kind of the case. So let's wait until the traffic passes. We're gonna stop and we're gonna launch it. Now, with the launch here on the Ford, as well as the Chevy, they are not sport cars, so we're gonna have some wheel spin. So let's stop here and try and launch it for you from the 0. Okay, here we go. Yes, definitely wheel spin, way more power. 4.2 seconds in a pickup truck. I mean, that's amazing. Of course, it doesn't quite match the quad motor Rivian or the Cyber Beast, but those trucks are 150 grand or more. Actually, the pricing for Cybertruck has just been announced, and it's like almost 140 grand for the Foundation series. Even more than that for the Cyber Beast, and of course the Rivians, as you know, because we compared it with the Kia EV9. The R1Ts and the R1Ss, we're yet to test drive one, but those are expensive trucks as well, starting at around 120 and going up from there. So they should not be compared with Chevy or Ford. The only fair comparison is Ford and Chevy. And then next year, of course, we're gonna be comparing them with a Dodge Ram Charger and the Dodge Ram Rev or Ram Revolution, pure electric, and the Charger plug-in hybrid or extended range electric. So the results of our consumption. Let's talk about that. So on the highway, just like last time with the Lariat version 2 years ago, the highway consumption is around 30. Okay, just under, just over, depending on traffic, wind, and conditions. Around 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, giving this truck around just over 400 kilometer range based on the size of the battery. So in order to get the 520 kilometer rated range, you have to take it on the side road. So what happened? We did take it on the side roads twice. First time driving over about 100 kilometers or so, we got a result of about 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers with some hills on the way from Midland to Creemore. Then from Creemore down to it's all downhill to Collingwood. Well, we're down to about 18. And then we drove straight from there to Meaford, and back from Meaford back to Midland, distance of about 100 kilometers, pretty flat along the shores of Georgian Bay. And we got a consumption of about 22. So that's where you get the 540, over 540 kilometer EV range, which is more than the rated range. But that's driving below 100 kilometers per hour, still with the climate, because there was a bit of rain, it was quite warm, so we kept the climate on. So we could have probably done even better. Today, for example, driving around the city 20 kilometers, shopping around the city here, we got a consumption down to only 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So that's quite excellent for a big truck like this. So again, between those two trucks, Chevy wins on the range by far and the speed of charging. The Ford wins for performance and just nicer finishes inside. We prefer this large vertical screen here in the middle versus Chevy's horizontal screen, which is actually smaller. Just simply, kind of for our case, probably a better truck. People who are concerned about the range will probably go with the Chevy. Again, both priced around the same $80,000. Thanks. That's about it for our results. If you have any questions about this test and comparison, don't hesitate to comment under the video. We'll be happy to answer your questions. As usual, don't forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed when the next video is available. And as usual, we have to mention that the video and all other videos on our channel are brought to you by our real estate company, Condos and Castles Realty Inc. You can find us online at www.condosandcastles.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next review.